Okay, class. Today we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. The word unlike, well, that's saying that you have two things that are not the same. Okay, so for example, green and red are not the same. They're unlike. So we may have a number that are the same. For example, 20 and 20 are the same number, so they are like. Then we may have a number like 20 and 5. Those two are unlike. So yesterday we covered like denominators. So this time we're going to be doing unlike. Here are the steps. Step number 1, find a common denominator. We've done that before. If you need help, you can look on the yellow poster in the back. Step number 2, multiply the numerator and the denominator both by the same number. Okay? So numerator and denominator, not just the denominator, but the numerator and the denominator. In step 3, add or subtract the numerator. Step number 4, keep the denominator the same. And we'll revisit these steps as we go through. Here's our first problem. You'll notice that it says 1/6 plus 2/3. And if you're looking at this problem and you notice there's something unlike about these two. Class, do you know what is unlike? If you said 3 and 6 are unlike, you're correct. So we must make 3 and 6 common. And the way you do this is you list out their multiples. So for example, 6 times 1 equals 6. But what about if we multiply times 2? Do you know what that equals? If you said 12, you're correct. And if you said 18 for the next one, you're correct. Now let's list out the multiples for 3. 3 times 1 is 3. Well, what's 3 times 2? Good. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. Now you notice that there's a couple of a couple of numbers that are like. We have 6, and we also have 6 over here. Now you see 12 and 12, and those are both common, but we're not going to use those. The ones that we're going to use, 6, because they're common. So let's erase these, and we're going to use 6 as our common denominator. And if you look back, that's the first step, find a common denominator. And we did. The number is 6. So we rewrite our fractions with 6 on the bottom, or the denominator as 6. We multiplied 6 times 1 to equal 6 down here. So 1 must be multiplied also. So we're going to multiply 1 times 1, which if you know your multiplication facts, that equals 1. Now 3 is a little different. What do we multiply 3 by to equal 6? If you said 2, you're correct. So 2 times 2 equals 4. Now, it's pretty easy because our common denominator is 6. We already have that set. And if you remember from our adding fractions or subtracting fractions with like denominators, you know that when it's 6 and 6 are the same, all you need to do is add the top. So let's add the top. What is 1 plus 4? If you said 5, you're correct. Now the 6, it's really easy. You just bring it over. So my answer is 5 over 6. Let's do a little bit more challenging of a problem. Let's look at this one. You'll notice that we have 2 mixed numbers. So first off, we have to look at it and say, well, how do we add mixed numbers? Or how do we subtract in this case? Well, first, we need to change it to an improper fraction. And if you know what an improper fraction is, it looks like this. So improper fraction. Looks like this. The numerator is larger than the denominator. See how this is larger than this? So we have to change this to that. And the way you do that is a thing called quality check. So you put a check mark. 2 and 5 will be multiplied. And then 5 and 3 will be added. So we're going to do 2 times 5, which equals 10. And then we have to add the 3. So we need to add the 3 to 10. So 10 plus 3 equals 13. Now, if you're with me so far, you're knowing that there's going to be a denominator. The denominator, it just stays the same. So we're going to put a 5 down here. So if we rewrite it, our improper fraction, just to make things a little bit nice and neat, is 13 over 5. So let's quality check the other side. See if you can answer what this will be. Well, if you said that 1 times 4 equals 4, and then you added 3, you should get 7. So it should be 7, and then knowing that our denominator stays the same, it should be 7 over 4. So we're subtracting here. Now, everything's the same. All we have to do now is go back to our steps. So let's look back at our steps, and you'll notice that the first thing we need to do is find a common denominator. Well, if we have 5 and 4, our denominator will be this number. So let's start listing out multiples. Class, what is 5 times 1? Good, it's 5. What is 5 times 2? 5 times 3? And 5 times 4. Let's stop there, and let's go to 4. What is 4 times 1? Great, 4. What is 4 times 2? 8. 4 times 3? 12. 4 times 4? 16. And 4 times 5? 20. Do you see two numbers that appear in both numbers? Do you see two multiples? Yes, you do. It's 20. So we need to rewrite our problem using 20 as a common denominator. And when we do that, it looks like this. Remember, we're subtracting. So what do we multiply 5 by to equal 20? We multiply by 4. And then we need to multiply 13 by 4. So 13 times 4 equals this. 3 times 4 equals 12. 1. 4 times 1 equals 4. Plus 1 equals 5. So we have 52. Class, spend some time trying to figure out what we're going to multiply this by. If you said 5, you're correct. So 4 times 5 equals 20. So 7 times 5 equals 35. Now if you're subtracting, it should be pretty easy. Our denominator will stay the same, which will be what, class? We're looking at these two numbers, 20. And now 52 minus 35. If you need to write it out, this is what you do. 35, 52, subtracting, this will be 12, this will be 7. Take one away, you have 17. Your answer, 17 over 20.